They just brought them in. They were running late. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Are we ready to eat? We ready to eat over there? This is Blake. Oh yeah, yeah. Guys, we have some Chick-fil-A if you want to grab a sandwich while we're waiting for the tour to get back. That would be great. There's food. It's free. Over there. That direction. Follow the crowd. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening. We'll have, hopefully get all the tables evened up and so that we can go. So there should be a facilitator at every table as we move forward. First of all, hopefully you got a Chick-fil-A sandwiches because they are amazing, right? And so with us tonight we have Blake Taylor, who, of course, I remembered every kid in the class. Not really when I was a principal, but he was one of the first class to go through, right? First of the last. And so he is an alumni and wanted to say a few things tonight. He's representing Chick-fil-A.
Sweet, yeah. I've been with the Chick-fil-A for about 6 years now. I started in sophomore high school. I remember I took an interview during sophomore high school in math class. I had to step out in the restroom, and I actually declined it. And further notice, he called me straight away, and I had to leave Miss Cook's, I don't know if she's still here, Miss Cook's class in algebra. And yeah, I was like, hey, can I go take this interview real quick? And she said yes. And then that just started. And I've been there for a long time. I got gray hair now. Chick-fil-A skate. Yeah. But I've been alumni first to the last, 2021. Mr. Osborne taught me. I remember you as my principal. I remember you guys over there shook your hand at the stage. I remember that. Yeah, I just enjoyed at West Clermont. I went to Glen Estee Middle School before that, and probably, I don't know if you guys know that or not. We combined. Yeah, that was a thing back then. Yeah. And yeah, I love it. I mean, I love West Clermont. I would try to do some business with you guys, marketing, try to bring the cow to high school and do on the field and make them run on the field and hand out sandwiches. I love giving back to our community. And yeah, I love it, you know. Marketing director now. I've been a team member since 2019. I'm trying to operate a Chick-fil-A one day, so I'm trying to give back to our community as a marketing director and then also tie business with you guys.
Tell me what you're applying for next year.
Yeah, I'm applying for Singapore. I'll be traveling to Singapore. That's my FTS assignment. I work for corporate. I've been doing it for about 2 years now. I'm only 22 years old, but I know it's a 14-hour flight. I'm going to be training people globally. I go to Texas, New York, Singapore, Hawaii, Canada, you name it. I've probably been there ever since I graduated high school. They trust me as a corporate trainer now, and I got the shirt underneath me. I ran out of my uniforms. I've been working a lot. But yeah, I've been globally training them with leadership and also trying to own a Chick-fil-A one day. So they've been helping me. I've been entering a leadership development program pretty soon in Atlanta. So I'll be traveling.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Thanks, Blake. I really appreciate you. And I appreciate you telling me y'all is your favorite principal. So next we have Mrs. Adams is going to start off the program.
Well, good evening, everyone. We have some special guests here this evening that I want to point out to you. Obviously, you're all special for being here, and we really appreciate you giving us some time. But we want to highlight our partners in education. We have Len Bard from the Clermont County Library. She also doubles as a mother here in West Clermont and a wonderful volunteer. We have Kevin Stewart, who is the pastor at Withensville Church of Christ. So, Kevin, oh, there you are. Hi, Kevin. Greg Hudson from SCOKI, who helps us with our workforce collaborative at the high school. There's Greg Hudson. Michael Wolf from Sporties, who has been the person behind why we have aviation available at West Clermont High School today. And finally, I want to recognize Ryan Patton, who is the president of West Clermont's Board of Education. So thank you. Thank you all for being here. We're going to get tonight kicked off in a moment of celebration. So first, Blake, it was awesome to have you here. We love having West Clermont alumni come back and tell their story. And something you might find interesting, we were meeting with a senior yesterday from West Clermont High School, and he said he was on a golfing trip recently with a guy, and he said, so what are you thinking about the merger of the high school or something? And he was really wanting to know this senior's opinion, and the senior was like, and it's because the merger of West Clermont High School of Amelia and Glen Estee happened for this kid when he was a 5th grader. And he was like, that was like so long ago, and he doesn't know anything different than West Clermont High School. And so he was just very proud to be a Wolf. And it sounds like you are too. So thanks for being here. West Clermont is on the rise, and do I have some great information to share with you about our progress? First of all, the state of Ohio scores us by stars, and this year we were rated 4 stars. This is the second year in a row we are rated 4 stars, and that's what tells us that this isn't just luck, that we're really onto something. And I can't even tell you how close we were to getting 4.5 stars. And what you'll see down here, we advanced 64 spots. We leapfrogged 64 school districts. And so we are serious about improvement here, and we are making progress. Our high school is named in U.S. World and News Report as a top 20% high school in the United States of America. We just recently, Michelle Dorman got to go just this last week to see Governor DeWine and be recognized as the Ohio Teacher of the Year for District 5. There are several districts in the state of Ohio. She happened to be in the top 4 in the running for the top spot. But we are very proud of her for representing District 5, Michelle Dorman. PBIS, not maybe a household word, but it's very important to us here in West Clermont. It stands for Positive Behavior and Intervention Supports. Every single one of our schools is either a bronze or a silver level. And this is one of those awards where you have to start out at bronze and work your way up. So we are very proud of the progress of all of our schools to create a great climate where every person has a sense of belonging and that they learn to have great character and leadership skills while they're here. This is another highlight for us. It's kind of an educational term, it's how we're measured, but value added means growth. There's always achievement in getting high scores on tests, but growth is about where you start and where you end. And in the state of Ohio, every student is expected to at least grow a year. Well, West Clermont is knocking the socks off that. Our growth is so strong in West Clermont, we are in the top 11% for the entire state of Ohio, which is impressive, because it's one of the hardest metrics to achieve. We also here at our lovely middle school have a Martha Holden Jennings Teacher of the Year. Rena Ford was recognized, and she actually got scholarship money as a part of her reward, which she'll be investing back in her students. 5 stars for gap closing. Again, another high achievement in our school system. This means every subgroup, whether you're special needs, English language learners, different racial groups, no matter what group you're a part of here in West Clermont, your needs are being met. And we are striving very hard to get better at that every year. And to have 5 stars in this category is one of the hardest things for any school district to achieve. And thanks to our great leadership from our treasurer, Dan Romano, we've received an international award for our finances, a certificate of excellence. I guess this was last week now. Jessica, was it last week? Jessica represented with a small team here at the 6th grade, West Clermont Middle School at the state OMLA, is it called OMLA still? Okay. The Ohio Middle Level Association conference. They presented there and were also given an award. There's only like 4 of these awards given every year, is that right? Oh, there were just 2. Okay, there were 2 in the state of Ohio, and our team got 1 of them. So thank you for helping me with that. Very impressive. And really what got them this award is their high level of collaboration. That's something that we are working to achieve for all teachers and all staff across West Clermont, and they are leading the way. Our wolf pups, the cutest little things that you ever did see, are being recognized here because of being a step up to quality school. You can get 5 stars, it's the highest you can get to be rated, and our system is a 5-star preschool. Currently, we have preschool at Summerside, at Willowville, and at Holly Hill Elementary. And finally, when I first came to West Clermont a few years ago, it's 7 now, we were spending in the bottom 3% of the state per pupil. And we were performing kind of in the bottom 25%. We were near the bottom, whatever that exact number is, I can't quite remember. Today, we can tell you that we are spending in the bottom 17%. So we're still spending very leanly when it comes to our students. We're below the state average in what we spend per pupil. But at this time, we are performing in the top 40% of the state of Ohio. So that is a huge return on investment. It is huge progress over the last couple years. And I would just like to give all of our students and our staff a round of applause for their excellence over the last several years. And thank you for being here. So you're here tonight because we want to keep this excellence going, and we can't do it without you, without our partners, without our staff, without our families, without our students, continuing to come together to create the future that we want to see here in West Clermont. And so you are vital to that. Your voice is vital, and we want to make sure that we learn a lot together and that we take your ideas into the future. So with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Gephardt.
Not working? Yeah, it's working. So thank you. I'll take the clicker. I need the clicker. I need something. All right, so what this is an interactive activity. If you've been to our town halls before, you're going to say, well, I've already done this once, and you haven't because this is new. All of it's new. You're going to be writing on Post-it notes. You're going to be walking around. You're going to be talking. So the first thing, we have facilitators at every table. So we're going to take 32 seconds, and we're going to introduce ourselves and who's at your table, and the facilitator will introduce themselves and go around the table real quick and find out who is at your table. All right, here we go. We're going right into, I don't know what happened right there, part one. So facilitators, start your script, and we're going to start this activity for about 10 minutes. Everyone will need Post-it notes. In the back of the room, you'll see, and your facilitator will direct you which way to go, and we can help you back there. And we are in part one, celebrating our success. Once you get your Post-it note, you can take it back to the back wall and you can put it on our charts. First one, we're talking about our biggest successes. The second one will be, what would you like to see in the next 5 years? Yeah, yeah. I don't really have doing on these two. So the first two sections, but then after that they'll have. Everybody get their notes posted? Are we ahead of schedule here? Anybody not got their notes posted? You haven't yet? You've been talking and forgot to post. That's okay, though. For those groups that are completed, you can go ahead and get that goal sheet out. You've got 2 of those in there. We can put that in the middle of the table, facing each direction. The goals sheet, as you will see that. This will take us into our next activity. It's another Post-it note activity, as you guys will be looking at the goals and then reacting to those as far as what you would see as success for each of these, and then what the challenges and obstacles are. So if you're finishing up the first part, that's fine. Those that are ready, you guys can move on to part 2. And again, we'll be posting it on the back wall. You'll see the 2 different places you can do that. Take over, facilitators. soon as you have your Post-it note, if you would post those, and then we will move on to part 3. Once you have your notes for both the success and the obstacles, if you guys would post those. Yes, so note takers will start on this next section, part 3. This is my favorite part. This is the part we're going to get to hear from some of our students as well. And so as we move forward now, if facilitators would get out the sheet that says vision on that. And the first part of this is we'll get started, and then we will be going into some opportunities and outcomes. So the first thing we'll do is we'll take a look at the vision sheet, have a little discussion on that. Facilitators, take it from here. Note takers will be taking notes during this section. Probably a good idea since it's on the paper. We should probably have it. They've heard of it? Once you are done talking a little bit about that, you can move on to the outcomes and opportunities that we would expect at the different grade levels for PK through 5 and 6 through 12. We got about 2 minutes, and then we'll be moving on. About 2 minutes. All right. Finish those final thoughts. We're going to move on. And now we got the best part of it. We get to hear from the experts who live it every day, who you guys looked at some of the opportunities and the outcomes, and now we have those that are living it every day at West Clermont High School. So I'm going to introduce Ms. Angela Fallhaber for this part of the show.
Thank you, Mr. Gebhardt. Good evening. My name is Angela Fallhaber. I'm the proud associate principal at West Clermont High School, and we are really excited to showcase some really cool things that are happening at West Clermont. So first, I want to tell you a little bit about the Wolf Lab. So this is a flexible learning option that we started this year, and before we talk about it, we're going to show you a little bit about it. So we have a short little video here for you to watch to give you like a picture of what's happening in the Wolf Lab, and then we'll talk about it. All right, so that's the Wolf Lab. So if we can go back to those, thank you. So the Wolf Lab, as I said, is a flexible learning option. And what that really means is that it's a space that we've designed for juniors and seniors, and we repurposed our media center so that a select group of students are experiencing learning in a whole different way in high school. So they're in there for 4 core classes, an English class, a math class, social studies, and science. And there are teachers in there supporting their learning along with an intervention specialist. And in this space, students are working independently. They work in small groups. They work with the teacher. And a lot of the times they're working self-paced with the curriculum that the teachers have designed. These are the key components of Wolf Lab. And what we really focus on is thinking about collaborative learning, and not just collaborative within a classroom, but sometimes across classrooms too. So students in a chemistry class are helping students in an Algebra 2 class, and they're starting to see connections across that curriculum. We're really emphasizing mastery-based learning, and so students get to decide when they want to demonstrate mastery of concepts, And you'll hear from the students about that in a little bit. And we're using the space in really interesting ways. So students get to make choices about how they show up, when they show up, and the ways that they're getting to engage with their learning. This is the media center. Before, it's a beautiful space if you've been in the high school, but we just couldn't quite land on how to use that space to its fullest potential. And so you'll see over here, the teachers who are in the Wolf Lab have created these zones of learning, and there's lots of flexible furniture. And so students can one day be sitting at a table or a desk or sitting over what they call the cave, right? Or what do you call that area in the back? The nook, the nook. And so they get to make lots of choices, and it's become this like multifaceted learning hub, really, that's alive with the kids. And the benefits are really that kids are getting individualized learning, access to their learning in different ways. They're creating and developing future-ready skills every day. So many of the times that I'm in there, it feels like what I experienced post-high school and the kinds of ways I had to manage my time and learn study skills. And they're in a supportive environment where what's really key is our teachers who are in there and the way they're able to show up and support students in lots of different kinds of ways. I could talk about it all night because I'm so excited and proud of what's happening, but really I know that you want to hear from the kids. So we're going to have the students introduce themselves, and then we just have a couple of questions to help them highlight and share the learning that they're doing. All right, guys, so say your name, what grade you're in, and what classes you take in there.
Hi, my name is Bailey West. I am a junior, and I take AP Gov, Chemistry, and Algebra 2 in the WIF Lab.
I'm Abigail Gregory. I'm a junior, and I take Chemistry and Government.
My name's Andrew Bentley. I'm a junior, and I take Forensics, Government, Algebra 2, and English.
My name is Carlos Mendoza. I'm a junior. I take Government for Chemistry, English 3, and I have Credit Recovery.
My name's Ashley Hostler. I'm a junior, and I take Pre-Calc, AP Government, and Chemistry in the Wolf Lab.
All right, thanks, guys. Okay, guys, can one of you start kick us off by just talking about how does Wolf Lab allow you to personalize your learning experience versus what you experienced in a traditional classroom?
WIF Lab for everybody is different. So my everyday life and WIF Lab is going to be different than Abby's. And you basically take you're learning for what you want. So I always say you put in what you're going to get out. So the effort that I put into my learning, I'm going to get everything out of it. And with my teachers sitting there right by my side saying, you can do this and you can do great things in WIF Lab, I'm getting everything that they're giving back, if that makes sense.
Anybody else want to talk about that? How are you personalizing your learning experience?
So whenever I'm really behind on a class, I go to that teacher, ask him for help, and he will help me. But if I'm by myself and one of my friends already done it, I would just ask them for help since they're right there for me, and they'll help me, and then they'll just help me, and I'll get that turned in on time, and then I'm done with that.
One of the things that students identified as a need was to know there can be anywhere up to 100 students in Wolf Lab at a time. And they wanted to know who else is taking the same classes as I am. So they created these posters so they know at any given moment, oh, I can go, if I'm in chemistry, I can go get chemistry help from that person. And so they really have worked at creating a network for themselves. Can somebody talk about how you choose to, what you're going to work on each day and then how you manage your time?
So in Wolf Lab, it is a lot of time management because the teachers, they'll post the stuff on Schoology, and you have to go in there, and you have to go in on your own. You have to figure out what you need to do, what you have to get turned in, and when the deadline is. And then the teachers are always there to help if you need it, but you got to go in, you got to figure that out all on your own.
You want to add anything? No?
There's the teachers are there to guide you, but not in a normal class how they're right behind you and they're telling you step by step. It's kind of they give you your list of when you need to get it done, and it's kind of on you to know your responsibilities, know that if I'm in chemistry but I'm behind in government, then I can go and work on government at that time. And we give tours in the Wolf Lab, and I think the biggest things that the other teachers say is that it's a lot like college. You kind of have to take your own responsibilities and know when to start doing your work.
Okay, so if a teacher isn't in the classroom teaching all of you at the same time, what does learning look like? How do you access the knowledge?
Well, the knowledge around you, just looking at your your peers. So even we were talking about this earlier, that everybody's a student. So even like my friends can teach me, and I can teach my friends. Like what Carlos was saying, if you're behind in something, you don't want to sit there and just like sink into a hole, and then you're gonna even more behind. You have to look around to all your resources. And in Wolf Lab, you have a variety. You have teachers. You have like Ashley's really smart, so I go to her for almost everything if I need help. And then you can go to anybody in there. There's Mrs. Collins, which is our IS teacher. You can go to anybody there. Or even just using your own resources and going on Schoology and saying, okay, what notes can I do? And then you have everything at your fingertips. You just have to be able to like persevere through it and realize that you're not sinking in the hole. You're able to have people around you to help you get out of that.
What kind of supports have been put in place, and Ashley, maybe you can talk about this. What kind of supports have been put in place for students if they are struggling or they get behind or they just need a little extra boost? I think you guys have a name for it.
So we have this thing called Pause, and I think it's like once every month.
Ashley's
And
never been in pause,
I've
so.
never been in Pause, but it's where it's mandatory for all these kids who need to get caught up on their work if they're behind, and they just go up to the upper media center with a teacher, and they will get their work done that they need, either missing or like from that teacher. But
Okay, so then this is one you'll be able to talk about too. What strategies do you use to track your progress and know that you're mastering the content?
knowing that I mastered the content is when I can help other people, like Bailey said, with my peers, and letting them know that they're not alone and I can help them with it.
And for any of you, how do you track your progress in any given class?
So the way we track our progress is in most classes, we have a checklist, like the teachers have like boards, and they have all the assignments that you need for the unit. And you can take a picture of it, or you can ask to have your own checklist printed out, or you have a calendar you write on, and you just have all the deadlines when everything's due. You have it all there for you, so you know when you need to get all that turned in.
Can one of you talk about the role of the space in your learning? Why does that matter versus being in a traditional classroom with traditional desks? What difference does the space make?
The space, the difference it makes is I can be in forensics and say I'm all caught up in forensics, but I'm a little behind in government. I can just go to the government area and I can work with those people who are in government at that time, and I can catch myself up in government. And I don't have to worry about, oh, I have to go sit in government now and I have to do all this other stuff before I can catch myself back up. I can always just catch myself back up and then I'm back on track.
So what I hear you saying, Xander, and probably other people can speak to this, is like there are no walls to the classrooms, right? And so you can really choose where you're going to work and how you're going to work and what even you're going to work on, okay? What makes an ideal Wolf Lab student?
An ideal Wolf Lab student is a student that's good at managing time, good at keeping themselves on track and on pace, a student that knows when they just need to lock in one of their classes, and if they're behind, they know they need to catch up in that class instead of just letting themselves get further and further behind.
I would say a student in Wolf Lab should be self-driven. I think they should be willing to learn.
I don't think there's like a perfect Wolf Lab student. I think that there's all kinds of students, your struggles, your weaknesses. We take any kind of student, we make them the best they can be. So you're going in there and you're not saying that you're the best at something. You have to know your flaws and you have to know your like everything. So like in my own personal like experience, I'm not the best with numbers. Miss Gorman was my teacher in 8th grade, and she knows how I am with numbers. I really struggled with all of that. And then my freshman and sophomore year, I also struggled. My mom's sitting looking at me too, and she knows exactly what I'm talking about. I struggled with anything with numbers, and I just thought I was a bad student. I was like, what can I do to do this? We went to my doctor, tried to get me on a 504. We were trying to get tutoring. We were trying to figure out anything just to get me to pass my classes at this point. And it was only math. I was perfectly fine with everything else. And then Mrs. Hollinger came to me one time in biology and said, "Wolf Lab, let's try this. Maybe you need something new." So I was saying, thank goodness, we can try something new. I was any possibility to do just to get me to pass at this point. And then I went into Wolf Lab, and Mrs. Cook saw me, and the first thing she said to me was that you're not a bad student. And that's all I think I needed to hear, just to help me get the little push and say that I am better than my past grades, and I'm all this and that. And I ended quarter one with, I think, like a 96 in Algebra 2, which is really hard, but I'm able to push through it. And with all my teachers, I'm able to do all that. So now I can't believe I'm about to say this, I'm thriving in math class. And it's just an amazing thing to see that I'm not just like the bad student that I thought I was.
Is there anything that you guys think they should know about what it means to be a Wolf Lab student that we haven't talked about yet?
I think like to be a Wolf Lab student, you need to be really supportive because like we've said, like that we have those boards with people who you could come to. So you just always need to like know that like you're on that board, and if you're ahead, like you know that there could be people coming up to ask you for help. Even if you're not working on that right now, you can always just like tell them how to do it or like instruct them better.
Anybody else want to add anything? Any last thoughts? Well, we worked really hard and we were really purposeful about the student population in there. And we wanted to make sure that it reflects the population of our school as a whole. And so we have students who are taking AP classes. We have students who leave the Wolf Lab to take College Credit Plus classes. We have students who have not really ever experienced success in school before, and they are earning credits this year for the first time, in some cases in 3 years. We have students who have IEP learning plans, and we have an intervention specialist who delivers her specially designed instruction right within the Wolf Lab. And there are all kinds of students in there. We have athletes, we have gaming club kids, and they have all found a place. The teachers have done such a beautiful job of creating ownership in the space. And so when Natasha was there, the kids who give tours, so if anybody ever wants to come see Wolf Lab, you're welcome to come get a tour from the kids and see the actual space. They wanted to show her every single thing that's on the walls and in the shelves, and because they feel such a sense of ownership. One of our teachers is actually here tonight, Jess Hollinger. Stand up, Jess. She's our science teacher. And so at any given moment, Jess has kids working in chemistry, forensic science, what else? And then she's also learning algebra. Earlier, she was pontificating about government checks and balances, and so she's learning alongside the kids.
So we have this thing called light bulbs. We just have them on this like glass like window door. So your name is in the middle of it.
Keep going, Carlos.
And your name is in the middle, and it's a light bulb. So whenever you get 80% or more on a quiz or a test, your light bulb shines brighter. They put like a little tab on it saying what like subject it is, and like the more like tabs you have, the how do I say this? The brighter you shine, and like it's just a really good way to like show how people are like get more progress in, just like how good they're doing in classes.
Great. We are Leader in Me school, and part of being in Leader in Me is celebrating everybody's genius. And so the board is called Everybody Has a Genius. And so it is really cool to watch these light bulbs fill up. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you coming up and giving your expertise. I told you that was the best part of the program. It's absolutely amazing what they've been able to put together. A lot of credit, obviously, to our teachers working in the Wolf Lab, innovation, creative. A lot of credit to our administration, high school principals in the back, Mr. Potterbaum, Ellie Preston, for doing this. And I think what you saw on this was innovation, but what we talked about a lot was how do you get students to work harder than a teacher? And I think when you hear what they're talking about, and they took ownership of their own education, and It's just an amazing, amazing opportunity for the high school and to utilize a space that was not used to the best of its ability. I'm sure Blake's probably sitting there thinking, man, they didn't have that when I was there. So, but you can come back and look at it. So, but it's an opportunity where students don't want to sit for 7 periods a day and sit and get all day long. They take ownership of their own learning, and that goes right into what the next thing that we talk about. And so our next part is our district and our facility challenges, and that's one of the main things that we're talking about tonight. We wanted to bring that program to show you that we can do this here in West Clermont. We can do this in every school, but right now, the reality of the situation is not every student gets the same opportunity depending on what their address is. And one of those things is having a facility that can have these innovation hubs, have media centers, have collaboration space. And so this is a challenge that we've been working on since probably for the last 14 to 16 months, talking about 3 of our older buildings. And so our next activity, or our next part, is to kind of look at the challenges that we currently have in our district, some of the reactions, and what are we going to do about it. So if you need to stand up, take a breather, that's fine. We want to do a standing up, sitting down. We're going to be moving here to the last section pretty quickly. So take a look at the challenges. We have aging buildings. We have schools that are overcrowded. Even our newer schools that were built are out of space, and our enrollment's going up. When you have all those things, you have to start to look for the future, and you have to create learning environments, modern learning environments for our students, so what you just saw can happen in every building, regardless of what their address is. So moving on to district facility challenges. 2 minutes, 2 minutes. All right, we're going to move forward. We obviously have some challenges ahead of us. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about this slide because this is a long time coming. We had a CAT team, community advisory team, that had worked since February to come up with a recommendation to the Board of Education and to the superintendent, and went through a lot of processes, a lot of configurations, and this modified CAT plan identifies some of the areas that we need, that we have challenges, but addresses the needs of the entire district. I know when we first started talking about this, we have 3 older buildings, 3 aging buildings, Holly Hill, Merwin, and the middle school. But then as we started to go into it, and the CAT team did a really good job as identifying those, then we started to look at some of the deficiencies in even some of our existing buildings that were a little bit older, and so that we were able to kind of take a look at that and identify some of the areas that we would need to add to those buildings. And so we wanted to look at district-wide security and technology. We want to look at the furnishings. We want to look at media centers. You know, when you look at the media centers at Clough, it's in the middle, basically, of a hallway. It's not innovative. You couldn't have a program like you saw here, and so we knew that we had some challenges in some of the buildings that we already have. And so as we looked at the plan that came forward, we modified it a little bit so that we could have enough space for everybody. We can look at the enrollment as it goes up in the different parts of the district. We looked at media center renovations, and then obviously we look at cost. And so this was a recommendation that came to the board earlier this month, and the board moved forward, accepted the recommendation from the superintendent. And so our next activity is to kind of take a look at this. There's some questions that go along with this, and look at the recommendation that's come forward as we move forward. And you got to remember, we're thinking about 2030, 2033, and as we start to look at the future of what this district is going to be down the road. So take a few minutes to digest this. If you put those out, you should have that in your packet. Look at those plans, read through those, and there's a few questions for you guys to answer there. Note takers, please make sure we capture some of these ideas. Collect a few more thoughts, and then we're going to move on. A couple more slides, and we will be concluding. Just a couple things on here. You've got, just to highlight this plan, creates consistency in our elementaries of about 700, 725. As I mentioned it, media centers would be impacted, security, with this plan moving forward. I've heard some questions about, well, finances, well, how much is this going to cost us? And that is a great precursor into what we're going to be doing in the future, because as the town halls will then be moving towards finances. And so that will be, as we move forward, if this plan moves forward, those will be the focus as we financing our future. So that it will be coming up. So the question is this. Hopefully you finished your thoughts. Just want to talk a little bit about this. So we put this plan in front of the board. What does this mean? Are the doors going to open tomorrow? Where are my kids going to go? And so we do have a little bit of a timeline that we've worked out with our architects on exactly what this would mean for our district. And as we move forward, so that we can put a face with this, so if you have a kindergarten student this year, class of 2037, remember Y2K? Now we're 2037. All right, so the first class that would be affected by this particular plan, approved plan, would be our kindergartners, would be the first class that would be in the new 5-6 building, if it were to pass, and so if we were to go and this happened. And so you kind of want to put that there so you can get an idea that this is going to happen to kids that are going to be in our schools now. How's it going to impact us? How's it going to impact the future? It's going to impact students that are in school today. And so those are the things that we want to look at. We want to see our students sit on a panel like this and have the opportunities that we do have. So that happens if we move forward and there was a ballot issue in May and it were to pass. This is kind of the time frame that it would take. You have basically a design time for about 12 months. One of the things about the modified CAP plan is, as we're working on this design plan, so the additional classrooms at WT and at Clough and the media center upgrades and all the other things throughout the district that you saw on that plan, those would be started immediately after an issue were to pass. And we believe that those would be completed in 25, 26. So in 26, 27, you would see the impact of those on those particular buildings throughout the entire district. So the improvements in the district wouldn't have to wait to 2030 or 2029. They would happen immediately in those other buildings. So then after the design phase, then you go to the build phase for about the next 39 months, and then you would be moving into those new buildings in 29 and 30. I know it seems like a long time away, but it goes very quickly, very, very quickly. And I think that as we move forward, one of the things that we want to talk to our community about and with our parents is when you start looking at cost and you start looking at the cost factors and you saw that total project cost, what's going to happen in next year will be more expensive than it's going to be this year. If you just keep kicking the can down the road, it's going to be more and more expensive, and you're going to get less and less for your money. And so as we look at all those challenges that you saw with space, with enrollment, with aging buildings. Those are the things that we have to consider, and that's something that we've moved forward with, and as we've gone forward with the Board of Education. And Mrs. Adams is going to talk a little bit about where we go from here.
One misconception I'll clear up, because I noticed on a couple Post-it notes that when construction happens, no school will be disrupted. All the students will be able to stay in their current schools and wouldn't have to be moved to a swing space or anything. So that's a benefit of this plan. I want to make sure you're aware of the Board of Education process from here on out. As Mr. Gephardt mentioned, last Wednesday, the board voted 5-0 to accept the plan that you guys talked about tonight. There are 2 more steps that have to happen in order for it to hit a ballot issue in May, and that's coming up. So we're here at the town hall. Thank you all for being here. On November 25th, the board will vote and consider what we call a resolution of necessity. This is the board decision that signals to the treasurer to work with the auditor or the Department of Taxation to determine what exactly will be the ballot language, the total number, what the investment will be, and how long the terms will be. That's step 1 if the board votes for that. That's November 25th. If that goes forward, the next step would be December 9th, and that is a resolution to proceed. And that gives the treasurer the authority to move forward with those departments to get something on the ballot for a May issue. So that's the process we'll be following. If all that goes well, as Mr. Gephardt mentioned, we will continue town hall type sessions and other engagements throughout the school year. The theme of the next round will be financing our future, and it's not just talking about the cost of the bond issue. It would be more to help us understand what kind of money do we get? Where does our money come from? How do we invest that money? What's the return on that investment? And just help bring the whole community along on school finance in a very interactive, more fun way than just sitting and listening to PowerPoints and looking at charts. And the whole goal is really just to help everyone understand the investment that West Clermont makes, how lean we truly are, and the big bang for the buck that we are able to bring. Additionally, we have some events we'll invite you back to. So I want to just put this on your radar. In February, we'll have Love WC Week, which will be a time of celebration for the school district. We'll invite our partners in education back at that time to celebrate all of the partners who work with us in WC Your Future, as well as Whole Learner Network. We always have a Partner of the Year named for every single school and one for the district that we will celebrate. And then moving into March, we will have a State of the Schools event. And that's a place for us to showcase the learning, the innovation, the hard work of our students and staff at a district-wide event. Last year, we had about 500 people come to our first one. And so we want to invite you back for that. That'll be the first week of March, and we'll make sure that there's lots of advertisements about that. So I know that Mr. Gephardt has one more call to action here, one more final activity for you to do. And again, we just want to thank you so much for your time tonight, for your questions, for sharing your ideas. And we hope that one of the things that you're able to do is walk out of here and talk to 1 or 2 of your neighbors, your friends, somebody at the bus stop, at the basketball game. How'd the basketball team do, by the way? What did we learn? They won. All right, awesome. All right, back to you.
We're winning at every level. Last thing, you've seen these cards before if you've been here. If you could fill one of those out, that is your exit ticket. If you could fill that out. Facilitators, please collect everything and put those back in the kits. The table numbers and stands, we'll collect those separately. But if you could put everything back in that. Once you've completed that, we do have a swag bag for you as you exit. And I can't thank you enough. Please tell a friend. Please tell your neighbors. Please tell anybody that will listen as we move forward, because we are going to look at building a future, and part of that's going to be our facility. So thank you guys once again for coming tonight, and thank Chick-fil-A once again. Best chicken sandwiches this side of the river, right? Thank you guys.